In society, when a man hits you, you're always told to leave them immediately or report it to the cops. Do whatever you have to do by any means necessary, just stay away from them. But what about when you're being emotionally abused? People don't warn you, oh, watch out. He's going to control and manipulate you, or he's going to take all your vulnerabilities and turn them against you. Of course not. Many people don't know much about emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is a behavior that is not physical yet still consists of verbal aggression, humiliation, intimidation, and manipulation. According to a study done at Florida State University, those who have never experienced emotional abuse produce up to 1.6 more symptoms of depression and anxiety. Those who experience those symptoms already and then experience emotional abuse can produce lifelong disorders such as mood and anxiety disorder. Today, my group will discuss the different types of emotional abuse that are done in relationships, workplace, and families. I've had many friends and family come to me about their relationships that they are currently in or thinking about getting out of. And one thing that I always find in common is the scenario of emotional abuse. You see, many people don't take in consideration of the fact that abuse doesn't always mean physical. So now society is unaware of when emotional abuse is being done or when they're engaging in an emotionally abusive relationship. And society also tends to normalize these things. For example, if a guy tells you, I don't want you wearing those shorts because I don't want other guys looking, it shows too much. Well, for one, society would be like, oh, that's okay, he's just the jealous type, it's okay, it's no biggie. And 9 times out of 10, the girl wanting to respect and obey the dude, they go change the shorts and hoping to please and satisfy him. But what they don't realize is that that is actually a form of control and also a little bit of insecurity. 2 huge red flags. Not only that, but he's also micromanaging her by telling her things that he dislikes in result of getting what he wants, which he doesn't hope he knows she will. Today, I will inform you on the 3 major types of emotional abuse done in relationships. The 3 main types of emotional abuse are love bombing, gaslighting, and blame shifting. Love bombing is when one shows you interest early on, like really early on, and the abuser might bring you flowers on the first date and take you out for 3 days straight and make these promises of the future and plan to have beautiful kids and all these other fantastic, unrealistic things, especially in the beginning of a relationship. And that is not normal. That is a huge red flag. Like when a person comes on too strong too soon, that's a huge no-no. There's no respect, there's no boundaries. I mean, just, take things slow. If they can't realize that, they're definitely an abuser. And not only that, but the abuser tends to put on the facade during this stage in order to collect the victim's vulnerabilities and later use it against them to devalue them when they're most tied into the relationship, so that the victim is now begging for appraisal and approval from the abuser. According to Dale Archer, love bombing involves being showered with affection, gifts, and promises for the future, with someone making you believe you have discovered love at first sight. Love bombing is also so efficient that in 2010, British author and psychologist Oliver James recommended love bombing as a technique to make children behave better. Next, we have gaslighting. This is when the abuser tried to deny the victim's reality. And by doing so, they lie and deny. Even if you have proof, like the proof can seriously be sitting right in their face, and they'll tell you, nope, what I believe is what I believe, and that's how it's gonna go, regardless if it's the truth or not. And they do this because they want you confused. You're like, huh? Don't you see it right there? There's the proof. And they're just like, no, I don't get it. They do this to confuse you and again undermine you, making you deny that what you believe is true. And they'll also say words like, you're overreacting, or you're so sensitive, or it's your fault, or I never said that, even though they did. And also in the gaslighting stage, their actions and words hardly ever match up. For instance, if a guy says, hey, I just want to chill, I don't really want a relationship right now, and you're like, okay, or whatever. And then when you hang around them in person, they're all flirty, touchy and stuff, calling you babe and boo on the low. And you're just like, what the world? Like, make your mind up. Mixed signals is also a tactic that abusers tend to use to confuse you and get you lost up in their dizzy world. The term gaslighting comes from a 1938 stage play called Gaslight, in which a husband tries to drive his wife crazy by flickering the lights that are controlled by gas. And whenever she asks him, he denies that there's anything going on with the lights. And of course, he's behind it, but he's trying to undermine her, as I stated before. Next, you have blame shifting. Blame shifting is when a person does something inappropriate and refuses to take the blame, and instead they put it on the victim. So it could be an argument and they'll try to flip the script on you, or they'll try to minimize your feelings. So if you're saying you're sad or upset, or you feel a kind of way about a certain thing, they might act like it's not important. They might brush it off, laugh it off, or dismiss it. Or they might act like you hadn't even said anything. And they also start arguments about arguments. So say, for instance, you were trying to address them about a situation and you said something that they didn't like and they called you out on it. And then now you're in your defensive mode, arguing about what he didn't like. And now your focus is not even on the legitimate concern. They also try to guilt trip you, and their last resort is to make bad accusations. They also tend to justify their anger. They'll make excuses and say, well, if you hadn't have done or said that, I wouldn't have got mad or reacted like that. They put the blame on you and you at fault, and 9 times out of 10, it was never your fault. Anna Freud said, coined as a self-defense mechanism when a person attributes their own unwanted thoughts, feelings, or motives onto another person. All in all, emotional abuse is so gradual that the person doesn't realize what's happening until they're too deep in, especially if they've never experienced it before, resulting in the person letting the red flags slip through their hands and ignoring them and mistaking the red flags as a cry for help. Being that I was once in an emotionally abusive relationship, my advice to you is to always take things slow and to always keep an eye open for the red flags and tactics that I recently stated, and to stop falling for the sob stories and stop trying to prove yourself to rescue these emotionally hurt and abused people. You and your happiness cannot save them. You cannot repair them. You cannot fix them in any way. So stop trying, because in doing so, you are hurting yourself. I promise you, trying to fix this emotionally abused person and trying to work things out will never work, because these people are so stubborn and they already know what's going on. They just choose not to change. Therefore, you should leave them alone and let them figure out how to love themselves and figure it out themselves. In the meantime, you do you.